Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. One more minute. Okay. Uh, Hello. Is everyone here? Huh. Do you know I cannot tell if everyone is here. Oh yeah, we have okay. We have people coming in. We have about 11 people here. Uh okay. Hmm. Let's give it 1 minute more for people to for more people to join, and then we'll start. Okay. Hi everyone. Can everyone see my screen? Um, or is it just the welcome screen you can see? I'm very. This is going to be.
So that's the welcome screen.
Is welcome screen? Oh my God. This is going to be interesting. Okay, remove. No. Oh wow. Huh. Okay, this is going to be weird because I cannot, for some reason, why I can present screen, it's not only showing the welcome stage. Hmm. Then, do I remove this? Oh. Can everyone see my screen? Malik, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
All I can see still is the welcome screen.
Oh, okay. Huh. We have gone 5 minutes past and I still cannot show my screen, even though I'm presenting. Now I don't know what to do. Uh, Sorry, everyone. I'm a bit new to this StreamYard, and I don't know why it's always showing the welcome screen.
Should I try and share my screen to see if it works?
Yeah, please do.
Can you see my screen?
It actually is only just showing. I can see that you're presenting, but it's only just showing the welcome screen stage.
Okay.
I need to remove this, but okay. Oh yeah, there you go. Hi everyone. It's so nice to be here, and thank you for coming. To start with, I'm super stoked to have everyone here. Seriously, you have no idea how excited I am. We've got some new faces joining, so welcome to our little umbo. I hope you feel right at home and enjoy your time with us. To kick things off, let's dive into it. My name is Doja, and I'll be your host and moderator today. Basically, I'm just here to make sure everyone is having a great time and getting the most out of this section. The rules are pretty easy. We just jump in and participate. The more you engage, the more you will get a lot out of these, and I promise to be worth it. If you got any question, just toss them in the chat, and we'll pick a few to go over as we move along. So what's on our agenda today? We're going to dive into the heart of creating compelling stories through photography. As a content creator myself, I know firsthand how powerful storytelling can be. It's not just about taking a pretty picture, it's about transforming ordinary images into narrative that captivate and connect with your audience. And okay, yeah. Now, let me talk about our amazing speaker. Malik is the genius behind the Elder series. Anyone heard of Elder series? The Elder series is a stunning example of creativity that blends the past with the future in a way that feels both nostalgic and futuristic. Imagine having seen elderly African men and women not in a typical everyday settings we might expect, but as bold, stylish models walking down the runway in a high fashion. So I appreciate the creativity because it's a celebration of age, culture, and style that challenges stereotypes and redefine what it means to be elderly. So I think Malik used the Elder series to tell a powerful story through the lens of fashion and photography, making you see aging not as a decline, but as an evolution of elegance and price. Seriously, if you have not seen the Elder series yet, do yourself a favor and check it out. The link is on the screen. I'm going to post it in the chat as well, so you can follow up with Malik and check out all his works. Okay, so along the way to connect with other people, you can also type in your name, where you're watching from, and your LinkedIn if you want other people to connect with you. I will give the floor to our wonderful speaker, Malik. Stop praising.
Hi, great to be here. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can.
All right, good. I don't know who is here or who I'm speaking to. Omotayo says we can't see.
You can't.
So,
Oh,
um,
it's showing here that you can't. It's.
can you hear? Is
Can
the
you hear?
feedback? Can you see and hear us? Okay, so let me just dive into this. Um, Let me add a bit of light here first. One second. Great, good to be here. My name is Malik. I'm a filmmaker, I'm a storyteller, and a creative technologist. So, a storyteller across different mediums of expression. So, that is the arts, that is film, that is fashion, that is music. I can't sing, but I understand music, and so sound design. So, everything that I could literally use as a tool to still tell stories is what I do. So, I don't really coin myself into one medium. So, I'm just a storyteller. That being said, as a storyteller, I look at everything as a tool. What is the best way I could tell a story? And what is the story I'm trying to tell in the first place? Why am I telling that story in the first place? And what's the impact? What does it mean to me? What would it mean to whoever I'm telling that story to? And that's the essence of storytelling, really. And when you can answer that question, I feel like the story will be told seamlessly, even without you even thinking about it too much. So traditionally, I work with, photography. I work with film. I work with sound, and I work with the arts as well. But what I want to speak to you about today are the new frontiers of artistic technologies, and that will be the new ways of using tech to tell stories. Let me share my screen quickly. Yeah, I'm hoping y'all can see my screen. So I call this the new frontiers of artistic tech because it is what the future will be. We've been coming from somewhere in terms of from paintings to, photography when it was still the boxes you wear over your head that you have to wait for the light to be exposed to black and white photography to film to digital. Like we've been growing literally, and that's what tech does. Tech would always grow, and that's why I always look to the future when it comes to communication, when it comes to expressions. Yes, the now is important, but always think about what about 5 years from now? You know, how would information be passed? How would we receive information in 5 years? It's very important to me, and that's why I've always kind of stayed in line and being at the forefront of this tech, testing before they even come out. Being in touch with companies that actually work around them, having conversations. Troubleshooting. So that makes me understand the space that I'm in. Um, and yes, the power of compelling stories can transform our world. And that is the backbone of what I do because I know how powerful storytelling can be. And I know how much it can actually shape perception, shape reality, and shape decision making, from history and even for the future as well. Everything is current around storytelling. So why not tell intentional stories is what I'd say, and that's what I always say. So one of the technologies I will speak about is virtual reality. Virtual reality is rather than you just watching something on a 2D screen, you're actually experiencing whatever you are, you know, assimilating. You are there. You are the director. You are the producer. You are the viewer. You're the audience. You control mostly the things that you see by your gaze and where you look at, kind of thing. Because virtual reality is shot in the 360 format rather than the one way that we normally see traditional film shots, which is the one dimensional format, but this is a three-dimensional format. Sorry, a two-dimensional, but this is a three-dimensional format. That means that some things are quite different, and the use case is slightly different from the other traditional films that you see. But today, there are now full-fledged films in virtual reality that you're actually in the film. You are there, you can experience everything that happens back and forth. But now, directors and producers had to go back to figure out how to tell stories in this dimension because it's a lot different right now, and there are a lot of things that you cannot hide. Now you're recreating real life. You are bringing real life anywhere, anytime. And that's what virtual reality does. Use cases are apart from entertainment and film, but also for education, for tourism, for medicine, for many things. And that is just the start of it. But the challenges that are faced when it comes to virtual reality, one of the challenges is the gear because you have to wear the gear on your head for you to be able to experience these things. And this gear, one, is not cheap. Two, is sometimes it can be heavy or disorienting. So those are the kind of challenges that I faced right now. So it's not really been adopted as much as it should. However, a lot of countries are adopting it. A lot of mostly in the Western world since COVID, because COVID made sure a lot of people were not able to do many things anymore. But with virtual reality, you can still have that immersion as well. So the next one is augmented reality, which is you know still in the extended reality family. And augmented reality is kind of different because now you're interacting with the physical objects, but you're adding an extra layer to that physical object. And that extra layer is how you're experiencing the object differently. So an example would be a picture or a canvas, and you put your phone over it, and that canvas is reacting to you putting your phone over it by having an animation or voice or something, a text that you would have pre-made before doing that. And that is augmented reality. It's also used for previewing construction sites, for maps, for many things. Like, and right now I've seen use cases where surgeons are using it for actual surgeries while they're not even present in the room. So it's quite mind-blowing. So what I'm heading towards now is artificial intelligence. So, but I just wanted to go a little bit into other things that I work with before I get into the AI space. So in the virtual reality space, yes, like I said, use cases you could have for the heritage and culture preservation, for healthcare, and for exhibitions as well. And these are some of the jobs that we've done in collaboration with Africano Filter, Meta, and some other medical associations of Nigeria, where we focused on heritage and culture and also focused on medicine for different use cases. So AI has been a facade for almost 2 years now. We're getting there, and we've been stuck on that facade for some reason. Well, it's dying down now because I think people are starting to really embrace it more than you would see. I've seen a lot of Chat GPT emails more than usual because I can recognize any Chat GPT email when I see it, no matter how much you might want to customize it. So, and that is just one use case. That's just one way of utilizing AI. But I'm a storyteller. I like to see how I can use stories for change. I like to see how I can impact you with the stories that I tell. So I saw AI as a tool for storytelling, especially if I wanted to tell a story, or if I want to tell a story, it's expensive. The types of story that I like to tell, the kinds of details that I like to put in my stories are not cheap. They're expensive. The barriers to entry are really high. But with AI, I could lower that barrier. I could imagine things. I could really create things and nothing, like something out of nothing. What is the best way of harnessing this tool? It's for good, because there's a good side, there's a bad side, and the good side is the fact that you could actually use it for good. You could create change, you could solve problems, you could make things faster, you could, even create a entirely new occupation with this tool. The downside is, as a tool, as technology is, as every other tool is, it can either be used for good or for bad. And that is down to the user as well. Who is the person using it and why is the person using it? At the end of the day, it's the user. So, and the also challenging fear that I have is if we don't embrace this tool, we are going to be in trouble. But I'm going to get into that later in this conversation. Um, so yeah, what did I use this tool for? I wanted to see how elderly people would be represented and be included in conversations in pop culture and everything. And the best way I could do that was to use AI to tell that story. Yes, I had challenges. I had many challenges when I was trying to do it. I literally had to train the neural network to understand what Africans look like, to understand that we are not slaves or poor, that we are elegant people, we dress well, we look good, we're confident. With the content that I had, in my 16 years of being in the traditional film industry. So training all of these things, and I started to get, good results from it. Then I understood that yes, AI is trained out of billions and billions of data sets online, both legal and illegally. But you could also train it yourself to get things that are actually very, very much your production without scrubbing all this data online. So I started to get these new images, and without even thinking too much about it, I did not know how much of an impact it would have or it would get to. For me, I was just telling stories like I always did, and this happened.
A Nigerian artist is generating buzz with his computer-generated works. Malik Afegbua used three different
Malik Afegbua, you might have
with his images of a fashion show of senior
Black
citizens.
people and moreover seniors suffer from the lack of representation.
Nigerian-based filmmaker and artist Malik Afegbua was inspired to create what looked like a real catwalk.
Were often overlooked. The images forces audience to see the African elderly from a different perspective.
In harnessing the enormous power of storytelling to shift mindsets and evoke emotions regardless of the medium of
Malik Afegbua, who is the CEO of Slick City Media.
Using artificial intelligence, Malik Afegbua creates powerful images showing elderly Africans on an imaginary runway.
Yes, so that happened. Okay, I think this is to finish. For me, are you there? Next. Let's imagine. Yeah, I'm trying to go next. Okay, so like I said, because of the impact of that tool, it went viral, it went wild. I'm still, reaping from that. I'm still doing exhibitions, I'm still doing shows, I'm still traveling, based off of that one project that I did. Many things came from that, many gigs, many contracts, and that was just the personal gratification. But on the wider side of it, the impact was heavy. I had messages from people that would tell me that, hey, I just had to send you this message that my grandfather had been depressed for the past 10 years. I've never seen him smile. But when he saw your images, he was smiling for the first time in 10 years. Thank you. I had elderly people as well that were thanking me about how much it meant to them and how much it made them see themselves even better. Up until today, I still get those messages. And that made me understand the impact, the power of storytelling, the power of why we should be intentional with the kind of stories that we tell and why we need it. The world is hard enough. Things are happening right, left. It's always going to be like that. So when we focus our energies on things that make us feel, better and would actually make us better from our minds and all of that. So that also led to us having the first fashion show in Amsterdam with actual real elders.
Beautiful models, the fabrics, the colors, the finishing touches. I love colors, and these are one of my favorite designs tonight. Put your hands together for our models and the designs. Lovely. African Fashion Week Amsterdam, the 9th edition. We're gonna come out tomorrow, and tonight is the after party for the after party. And ladies and gentlemen, beautiful models, the fabrics, the colors.
Just trying to forward it. Yeah, this is Nigeria.
area ọ̀rọ̀ mi ló ń sọ wọ́n ní mo kí tẹ̀ ń pressure ó jẹ́ má lọ sùn ṣiṣẹ́ lọ ọmọ ìyàpá ó lọ nobody go dey wẹ̀ sàpà don too much ẹni tó bá bá aṣọ òun ṣá ló mọ̀ gàbogàbo lọ ọmọ bá ṣì ń lọ ìsídèlé kò sí sídè ọ̀ happiness happiness my life.
So yes, so that happened. So that meant that from the digital, we could even translate into the physical. And we're having more fashion shows this year as well. And we're planning more. We would have had more earlier, but we're also busy with other things as well. This image here was one of the things that was created with AI, in co-creation with AI, and also produced and showcased on the fashion runway in Amsterdam, just to show how you can still create and make physical digital interactions with it. For Marvel Studios, using artificial intelligence, we created the costumes for the lead actor, for some of the vampires, and for the villain as well. And also worked on some of the composition of what it could possibly look like. That was 6 weeks of work last year with the amazing Ruth Carter that we worked on Wakanda. That was really amazing. This was Cannes in France for IBM, where I showcased, we were trying to create an alternate time in history where how the weather affected certain events in history. And my brief has to do with the Beatles. And the Beatles, they have a popular song called Here Comes the Sun, and a popular picture as well at the Abbey Road crossings, the zebra crossing in London where they were crossing all together. I don't know if anybody has seen it. So they wanted me to see what it would have been like if the weather was different. So yeah, I chose a stormy or snowy weather and an uninspired songwriter. Only use AI to create that. Showcase that in Cannes last year. The AI as well was used to create the branding, the characters for Bonvita, the African beverage, to rebrand everything. So we created 4 characters for them and licensed it to Cadbury using, co-created by AI. So this is the next level, thinking about the future of how to utilize these tools. For Glenfiddich,
in the heart of the Scott,
last year as well, they wanted an AI video, specifically an AI video, and wanted it in 2 days. It took up the challenge. I'm like, yeah, definitely. And now, mind you, when I created this video, there was no AI video creating software. I had to find new ways to do this. All what we had was very, very different from what we have today. But yeah.
Valleys, where nature weaves its enchanting tapestry. A remarkable story is unfolding. A story that embodies the essence of craftsmanship and the pursuit of perfection. This is the birthplace of Glenfiddich, where tradition meets innovation. Derived from the Scottish Gaelic, it signifies the value of the deer, a noble creature that roams these lands, where timeless alchemy of nature and skill transforms humble ingredients into liquid gold, introducing a bold fusion of cultures. We finish this unique expression in Japanese X Awamori cask.
So let me know, boy, you will actually watch. Yeah, so we also created some films.
It's the only thing that
you could check out on my page when you have some time. But let me stop sharing now. That is that for that. Yeah. So basically, that is in a short, just small, slight examples of the kinds of things that I do with technology, and this is just everything you saw just months ago compared to my traditional work where we used to spend months planning. But when it comes to using New Frontier, I just spend a lot less time. for that. So that is how I see it. And I was going to speak about the bias in the system as well. The bias is a lot. So the challenges I was facing then were like AI softwares were creating Africans or Black people as what the media portrays us to be, which is the misrepresentation, of Africans, misrepresentation of Black people, now in the digital space. So, and that's a big problem. And if you still want to try and create something that has to do with time and a place and a person today in AI software, you're going to get a biased image. Nothing you can do about it except to train it. So we need to be in a space where we think about ourselves as creators and think about ourselves that we need to do something about it. Because if we don't do anything about it, in 10 years, it's going to get worse. And the AI will still keep building on that wrong persona, that wrong representations of who we are, and that is bad. So that means we need to start to tell intentional stories. We need to start to put out intentional pictures, videos, and all of that. So thinking about Hollywood, for instance, let me use Hollywood as an example. Hollywood, they've always been intentional when it comes to storytelling. Think about everything that has to do with the agenda of something is put in a film, it's put in the song, in dressing, in pop culture. It's intentional, But when it comes to Africa, we are not very intentional about the kind of stories that we tell because we either want to entertain or we want to get by. Fact, and which is fine. But we also need to understand that the history that has been put out there every time is always about slavery, always about someone coming to save us about something. And we never go beyond that to actually understand where we come from and who we are, how important the things that we own, are, especially our minds, So that's why I like to use storytelling to try to, do that one way or the other, if that is possible. For me, and AGI might be achieved in a few years, and that means decision making might be in the hands of machines that do not have emotions. I work with data sets and numbers. If you break everything down, everything comes down to ones and zeros, numbers and data sets. So if Black people or Africans are broken down to a particular data set that's biased, what do we do about it? So that is where I stand in terms of the fears that I have if we don't actually embrace this technology and play a role in it as well. So I think this is where I would maybe answer some of the questions that I can see in the chat. Okay, how do you approach blending visual elements with narrative storytelling in your project? And what are the key factors to make visual storytelling? So I think I said this in the beginning. What's the story you're trying to tell? Why are you trying to tell that story in the first place? And what does that story mean to you? And what do you think it would mean to whoever is watching that story? But the most important thing is, what does it mean to you first? Because if it means something to you, then it would definitely mean something to someone else. You can't please everybody with your visual aesthetics. People have different kinds of aesthetics when it comes to what they want to see or hear or perceive. So that's why you're the one that actually does matter when you're creating. Because if you can impress yourself, you can be satisfied personally with what you're doing, everything comes through. But now, that being said, think about visual storytelling, think about striking images. What gets your attention? What keeps your attention? And what makes you come back? All those things are really, really very, very, very important when you're trying to create something. So that means every step that you are taking has to be, properly dealt with intentionally. If it's even the brainstorming side of it, you'll go back and forth and be your own critic. And now there's something I do and it helps me, First of all, I'm very hard to impress. Yeah. So that means I find it hard to impress myself. And I never seek for validation because I know what I'm trying to do, and I know that there is a basic level to something. There is a way of doing something, and there's my way of doing something, and there's a creative way of doing something. I'll make sure I tick the boxes that comes to certain things. But when it comes to my way, because it's me creating, I don't need you to tell me what to do or how to do it, or if it's good or bad. I feel if I feel it's good or bad, that's all that matters. And someone else might have that same feeling or not. And that's how I approach creating. And that means I could create anything I want to create without thinking about what someone might think about if this is bad or not, as long as I think it's good or I think it's bad. But that works for me, and that might not work for everybody at the end of the day. And so with that, I have my own visual style. I have my own ways of trying to, reel you in, and that is going in depth, like going behind the meanings of things. If I'm talking about, if I hold a phone, for instance, I like to go, what's the meaning of a phone? And why is it a phone? And how does it work? And why is it even working? That helps me create. It helps my brain to start to think about the engineering of it. And when I think about the engineering of it, I think about other things, and that's how I work. And from there, I start to create. I hope that helps. Advice to have for aspiring photographer and content creators. I think what I just said actually answers that as well. Keep creating, just keep creating, keep experimenting, keep testing, keep trying out new tech. There's so many open source technologies out there that you can try for free, that you can experiment for free before you even start paying for anything that's premium. You have to make mistakes. You have to be confident enough to make mistakes. And don't care about those mistakes that you're making. Know that you're learning. It's a learning process, But one thing has to be consistent, and that's always creating and always learning. YouTube is a very good resource. You learn a lot on YouTube. Google is very good as well when you're looking for certain things. But now you have AI that could teach you anything. You have AI softwares that are for education that could explain a 500-page book for you in 5 minutes. Stuff like that. So now we're living in a time where things are a lot easier to assimilate, but also we could be confused and we could drown in it. So we need to know how to place these things and how to do them. How do you balance technical aspects while compositing? So I'm a filmmaker, I'm a storyteller. I have that traditional knowledge, and I always experiment, I always research. I haven't done experiments in a bit, but I always used to do that. And I've gotten to a level where I know certain things, like in my sleep. I know certain aesthetics I know what I want to create. I know exactly what I'm going for, and I know how to do it. So I kind of just focus on the things that are unseen, the surprises, the imaginations, and all of that. And when it comes to composition, when it comes to technical aspects of stuff, it is simple. Colors. Understand the dynamics of colors, the spectrum, the color spectrum. From left to right. Understand how light plays a role on your skin, on an environment, how an object is important in the foreground or the background of something. So all these things are what kind of informs my decision. The same way I would approach film, the same way I would approach AI or photography or anything. Storytelling. So how do I tell it, and what's the best way of telling it? In my experience, how can visual storytellers use their craft to inspire social change or evoke powerful emotions? So I will use the Elder series as an example. The Elder series was me trying to deal with like a personal, something personal, which then was my mother that was on life support, and I was very close to my mother. And the only way I normally deal with stress, issues, problems is through the arts. I just create. I just get lost in creating. I don't even know what I'm creating. I'm just creating. And I always found that always helped me in the past. I only started sharing my art 3 years ago, but I've done art for almost 15 years because I never thought it was for anybody. It was always for me. I have a phone. I have an iPhone, and a very old iPhone kept somewhere that has over 20,000 images that I've done that nobody has even seen, because that was just me creating. So last year, actually it was 2 years ago now, December, I was trying to get by understanding where I was, the situation my mother was in, but I didn't want to remember her in the state that she was. I wanted to think about her in a happy space, a happy moment and everything, like that. So I felt like the best way I could create is to create her demograph, people in that age range that are just happy and just happy and living life and not really worried about anything but life and happiness. So that's how the Elder series started, and I created a bunch of things that through the elders. And I woke up one morning and I just felt like I've never seen a fashion show for the seniors. Did some research. I went online. I didn't find anything. I said, let's create something, and that's where the AI played a role as well. And that led to me understanding how what's the word I'm looking for? That demographic is unspoken for. Like, really, there was a lot to be said. There was a lot to be done. The inclusivity when it had to do with that demographic was very, very low. But that project led to conversations from parliament to very popular designers to people to universities to organizations to speak about the elders based off of that project. So that was one way of doing it. And I'm always honest about it. When I was going out to do it, I didn't set out to make that impact. But along the line, I kind of found myself doing it because it mattered. It was first as a therapy for me, to get by something, but I found that this had impact on a wider range. So I went into the rabbit hole and I said, you know what, let me do something about this thing and use my voice in a way to speak for this demographic, and that helped. How can content creators effectively build a strong connection with their audience? Through the use of imagery and narrative techniques. If I could answer that question, I'd be lying. But I found out that I've been getting by over the years. So my creations are based out of my emotions and my experiences. Everything I create is based out of how I feel, my state of mind sometimes. It could be my state of mind 3 days before. And I remember that state of mind, I create something 3 days after. But I always get inspired by life, by everything, by my past, by my present, and even my future, because I kind of know where I want to go. So that also inspires me when I'm creating. And that kind of shows itself in the works that I create. In a way, there's always a kind of essence in it. Like you're seeing yourself in it or you're seeing something, but it has to speak to you. And that has to be you that you need to answer that question yourself. Or look within or look outwards. Yeah. And see how you can bridge a connection with that thing that you're trying to communicate with. And I think you could answer that question. So I think I've answered all the questions. Yeah.
Hi. So thank you, Malik. If anyone have any other question, you can drop them in the comment section. Going through the YouTube and LinkedIn. Give me a second. Because there's no question. Okay, if no one asks any question, I think we are coming to the end of today's workshop, and I hope everyone has something tangible to take with. I myself have something. I've learned a lot. I'm trying to build content on LinkedIn, and I understand where Malik is coming from, using what you're going through to inspire what you create, and I've discovered that that's one of the ways to actually create something that actually resonates with your audience, because some people you don't know might be going through the same thing you're going through. So yeah, I totally understand that. Thank you so much, Malik. Again, if anyone have questions, we are coming to the end of the workshop. If anyone has any question, please drop them. If not, okay, no question. Okay.
I still have a question. What inspired me to stay and grow in my craft? So it's a long story. I'm thinking of where to start from. I have I've lived many lives, if that makes any sense. So I have to win. I have to succeed. So that's the best way that I can put it. I have I understand where I'm coming from, and I know where I want to get to in this life before I leave. And I want to inspire, but not just inspire, I want that inspiration to have a legacy. And storytelling has an impact. And I've known about this impact of storytelling for a very long time, even before I had any inclination of the fact that I'll be a part of that industry. But when I found out that I could be a part of that industry, then I took it seriously and I built from it. I grew from one camera to where I am today. And I feel like that inspiration for me is I can make an impact, I can make a change. So let me do it. Let me just do it. I think that's the best way to answer it. There's a longer answer, but I don't think I can say that now.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. Going to wait for a few more seconds. Okay. Let me check LinkedIn. Sorry, there's so many to answer. Okay, I guess there's no more question, and we are now at the end of our podcast. I want to thank Malik for sharing his insight and creativity with us. It was so inspiring. I hope you all find it as eye-opening and exciting as I did. And you can always connect with Malik on LinkedIn and IG. It's link URL has been shared in the comment section. And before we wrap things up, I want to take a moment to talk about what happened next. First of all, we are not leaving you hanging after today. We got some awesome follow-up activities and resources lined up to help you keep growing and creating. And we'll be sending you out a recap of today's session along with some additional resources so you can keep your eye in your inbox for that. And if you love today's workshop, I think you will feel right at home with WaveSync. WaveSync is a travel app that streamlines solo traveling for solo travelers. I don't know if that makes sense. But we have an active community on Discord, and it's all about blending travel wellness and personal growth in one epic journey of self-discovery. Our tribe is a vibrant online community where you can keep the conversation going, sharing stories, tips, and experiences that helps you inspire the world in a different way. So if you're into connecting with your fellow travelers, creators, and wellness enthusiasts, you definitely want to join us on Discord. And while you're at it, you can also follow WaveSync on social media because we are always posting fresh content, event update, and lots of inspiration to keep you motivated and as excited about your journey. Thank you so much for being here today and making this session so wonderful. Let's keep the momentum going. Join the tribe. Follow us on social media and keep creating, exploring, and growing together. Take care, everyone, and see you in another workshop session and in WaveSync Tribe Discord. Yep. And before we go, a round of applause for Malik for his amazing insight and elder series. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, bye guys.
Malik, you're getting a round of applause on LinkedIn, but unfortunately you can see it.
Okay, guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone. Take care.